California.
Thank you, Trey, and welcome to Trenton, where the Bears of California have already gone farther than they've ever gone in any other NCAA tournament, taking on five-time champion UConn. They are 35-0 on the season and have won their games by over 31 points per game. The winners of this game will take on the winner of our later game in Trenton between 2-seed Texas A&M and number 6 seed Arizona State. Those winners play on Tuesday night for a trip to the Final Four. Joanne Boyle and Cal find themselves in their first Sweet 16.
You've done a great job of looking at games 4 minutes at a time. 4 minutes, not look at the bigger picture. 4 minutes. Two-minute timeouts, 4 minutes, 2-minute timeouts. We stay in that mode. We take care of each other out on the floor. We lay it all out there, all right? It's our time, you guys. Let's go. Here we go.
That was just moments ago in the locker room. One of her stars, Deb Antonelli, is Ashley Walker, who led the Pac-10 in scoring.
She's a 6'1" senior, also on the all-defensive team, coming off a 32-point performance against Virginia. The offense will run through her, and then Maya Moore, the 6-foot sophomore, the All-American, a finisher in transition, can score from the rim to 3 steps off the three-point line.
And makes it look oh so easy. The starting lineups for the Bears, an at-large selection out of the Pac-10 Conference. Alexis Gray-Lawson in the backcourt is really the best three-point threat for the Bears, joined by Lauren Greif and Natasha Vidal. In the front court, we've already told you about Ashley Walker. Devonay Hampton, coming off her 3rd knee surgery, got off to a slow start this year and needs to make an impact today. For the Huskies, once again the champions of the Big East tournament as well as the regular season, Renee Montgomery, the superstar senior point guard, her last opportunity to win a championship, joined by Hayes and Green. And Maya Moore, along with Tina Charles, who has been a big force so far in the NCAA tournament. For more on Tina, let's go over to Rebecca Lobo.
Pam, the past 2 years, Tina Charles did not play well in the NCAA tournament. This year, averaging 27 points, 10.5 rebounds, and shooting 82%. She's showing emotion, playing with a swagger, and dominating the paint. What has gotten into her? She said, it's March. Coach said for us to win a championship, Maya, Renee, and I have to go out and play hard. That's what I'm doing, and it feels really good to play like this. Pam, this is what Coach Oram has been trying to get from her the past couple of years.
And she finally is coming through. They need her to continue that, he says, for UConn to win the national championship. Charles with a little fake goes right up and scores.
Trying to get Charles established early as Cal starts off in some jump defense. Connecticut showing some zone to start this first half. Usually a man-to-man defensive team, so already a little wrinkle out of Gino Auriemma's playbook.
The shot up and missed by Hampton. Rebound battled for. Hayes gets it up to Moore, so only one chance for Cal on that trip. Renee Montgomery, they'll do that in transition. It looks like a bad shot sometimes, but not for them. A good three.
They'll shoot it quickly because they run the floor hard enough to have a chance for an offensive rebound. They take a lot of threes, does Connecticut, and they'll shoot a good portion of those in transition.
Montgomery hitting 39% of her threes on the season.
And Connecticut just showed zone for one possession. Now they're in their man-to-man defense.
Hampton working down low against Charles, and a foul called because of that contact. Scott Yarbrough, Susan Blau, and Janine Pence, our officials. Joanne Boyle, her 4th season as the Cal head coach, has done wonderful things. Did not recruit these seniors, but has taken them farther in the tournament than they have ever gone before. This is their first Sweet 16. Tina Charles whistled for that last foul. Alexis Gray-Lawson for 3.
If Cal can open up the floor with some perimeter shooting early, that will give Hampton and Walker a chance to go to work on the interior.
And a turnover gives the ball right back to the Bears. Gino Auriemma, for the 2nd straight year, is the WBCA National Coach of the Year, and he has won 85% of his games, as you see on the graphic, and that is best all time, even better than his arch-rival Pat Summitt, who's around 84%. Right now, his eye is just on the prize, one game at a time, trying to get to St. Louis. Lawson closed on by Moore.
What's interesting is the change in defensive looks, and you know Cal's trying to get the ball in the interior to Hampton and Walker. They'd love to set up their inside-outside game.
Walker over Charles for the basket.
You see, Charles is a tremendous shot blocker, but she can't afford to pick up another foul, gambling on blocking that shot on the interior.
UConn has done an uncanny and tremendous job of staying out of foul trouble all season because they really only rely on 5 core players. The starters on the floor. Moore for 3, off the mark, rebound battled for and taken by Lauren Greif, the junior captain.
And remember what Joanne Boyle said to her team coming out of the locker room, 4-minute segments.
And Moore got in front of that pass, but then taken right to the hole. An incredibly strong move by Walker. And UConn down 5. They have not trailed much at all for this entire season, much less by 5 points.
They only trailed once in the second half, and that was against Notre Dame at the end of February.
Charles over a couple of players, gets her own miss, and is fouled on the second putback attempt.
You know, Rebecca alluded to the play of Tina Charles averaging 27 and 10. When you look at Connecticut's stats, when you look at either their last 5 games or their last 10 games, Tina Charles leads them in scoring and rebounding in the latter part of the season. That's exactly the kind of work ethic that Gino Auriemma has been looking for from Tina.
Fouled in the act of shooting by Greif. Tina, who is a 68% free throw shooter, has gotten to the line more than any other Husky this year. And Terry Wingo talked about it in the studio, how she was benched before the NCAA tournament last year. And Gino famously said that his team did not have a good post game after the season, and has challenged Charles to live up to the hype when she came out of high school.
And Gino Auriemma has so much respect for the interior duo of Walker and Hampton, and he's been playing more zone than man early on. Want to protect Tina Charles also.
Shot clock inside of 10. Ball tipped away by Montgomery, and the Huskies get it. Montgomery picked up by Vital, and now Gray Lawson. And a whistle underneath, and a holding foul on Vital for guarding Maya Moore too closely.
And because Cal has been able to score, they've been able to get back and set up their defense. You want to force Connecticut to run offense. If you're going to pick your poison, Pam, you don't want them to run on you in transition.
Hayes for 3. That one is off the mark. Helena Green gets the offensive board for the Huskies. Green might have gotten away with a walk.
I thought she walked.
Instead, she gets 2 points. Green, one of the captains on this team, cuts it to a 2-point deficit.
Good communication in the zone. Look how active Connecticut is. Hands up, good ball pressure on the perimeter, and protecting inside.
They get a lot of credit for being the best scoring team in the nation, but their defense has been tremendous. A block by Moore. Charles tried to save it, but was on the baseline. Only giving up 53 points per game on the season. That is second best in the entire nation. But UConn finds themselves in a place they're not used to. They're trailing.
The NCAA Women's Championship on ESPN is brought to you by Pontiac, official performance machines of the NCAA.
Welcome back to Trenton, New Jersey, where California is leading Connecticut 7-5. First time UConn has trailed in the NCAA tournament this year. We have a poll going on. ESPN.com is where you can vote as to who you think will be coming out of the Trenton Regional. And we'll get you information on how you can get in on that. But right now, Alexis Gray Lawson firing up the 3. Maya Moore comes down with the rebound. The Huskies' biggest deficit all season was a 6-point hole against Notre Dame. They've been down by as many as 5 in this game. And Joanne Boyle talked about 4-minute segments, and they did quite well in the first 4-minute segment.
Well, they won the first segment, 7-5.
Moore a little bit too strong. Green with the good rebound. UConn's so good on the offensive board. Gray Lawson gets it. The defensive stop. Montgomery puts one up, and Greif is fouled. That's 2 on Tina Charles. Charles Charles, who has been spectacular so far, has 2 fouls. Let's go to Rebecca.
Pam Ward, who is the last team to beat Connecticut Stanford in the Final Four last year, and that last time out, Coach Oriama said to his team, Cal is doing the same thing in their pressure defense that Stanford did to us. And then he showed Renee Montgomery what he wanted to do going against it, having her go down the floor and come up through the lane.
Thanks, Rebecca. Both teams in the Pac-10, both smart schools. Walker, terrific job to catch that pass, got the shot off, but couldn't get it home. Tina Charles out there playing with 2 fouls. Renee Montgomery comes down and bears 1.
Look how quickly they can get down the floor with their team speed, and they're committed to scoring in their transition game. That's why they lead the nation in scoring at better than 84 points a game.
Montgomery ties it up at 7 apiece. Vital goes by Charles, who has the 2 fouls. Good job by Vital to recognize that. She is 4.
Great screen up top by Hampton.
And then Hayes answers with a 3, the freshman.
Now that's not good transition defense, Pam. If they score and take it out of the net, and then Connecticut can get down the floor and shoot a quick 3, you got to do a better job of matching up in transition. That's a mismatch right there.
All right, Hampton tried to take advantage of it, but stepped on the baseline. That's a turnover. McLaren coming in for Charles, who sits with 2 fouls for the Huskies. Here's that poll we promised you. Which team will win this Trenton Regional and advance on to the Final Four? There are your choices. Connecticut, Texas A&M, Cal, or Arizona State. Log on to ESPN.com. Look for the tournament poll and vote. I have a feeling that team might win that poll. But B, we invite people to be daring.
Well, this is what Rebecca was alluding to before, getting Renee Montgomery off the ball, letting her work off screens without the ball for some shots.
Hampton got the miss. Vital over to Walker, who took an extra step, and they got her 4. Walker's been starting since her freshman year, and these kids were not recruited by Joanne Boyle, but she's done a terrific job nurturing them, and they obviously want to keep their Cal career going. These seniors, and Alexis Gray Lawson came in with them, but because of a knee injury now as a junior.
Well, Joanne Boyle's only been a head coach 7 years, 3 at Richmond, 4 at Cal, and she's done the postseason every year.
They might want to guard Tiffany Hayes on the perimeter. She has a pair of 3s. And the lead is 3.
Try to get a touch on the interior to set up your outside game. That's part of the reason why Cal was able to score 99 points in their last outing against Virginia.
Wright shoots 1 from 3, way off the mark. McLaren with the board.
See, right here, you got to pick up Renee. Look how smart that play is right there. You know what's smart about that is she runs right behind Hampton, tries to force a mismatch right away.
And even though UConn did not have numbers, she put up a shot. But again, Gina Oriema won't think that's a bad shot.
That's a good shot for her.
Hampton goes right up against McLaren. No foul is called, but the ball stays with the Bears. 18 seconds left on the shot clock.
What I love about Renee Montgomery and Christy Todd from Maryland does the same thing, Pam. They chase down the bigs in transition to try to get an early mismatch.
Vital off the inbounds. Knocks down the 3. Natasha, who only averages 8.5 points per game.
Well, Vital's got the matchup with Renee Montgomery, and you do a lot of face guarding there. You don't try to help off very much because Montgomery is such a good 3-point shooter.
Vital has 5. McLaren misses a shot. And the Bears looking to run. UConn getting back in their transition defense. Gray Lawson. Out to Walker, who fires a 3 from the top of the key. She hits about 37% of them. She has 7 and Cal's up again.
That is where Ashley Walker's game has grown the most. She's made 11 threes all season. She was not a 3-point shooter until this senior campaign.
Green misfires on the 3, and a foul called on Cal's Gray Lawson. Cal with the 15-13 lead over #1 UConn. Ashley Walker 6'1", and not just a post player. She can hit from the outside.
I want this for Renee because she's done everything for us that Jennifer did. She's done everything for us that Sue Bird did. She's done everything that Diana did. Everything. You name it, she's done it. And they all have 1 or 2 or 3. And I want Renee to not leave here. I don't want her to leave here without one.
You know what you're going to get out of Renee Montgomery. Every single time she puts the uniform on, she's going to play defense. She's going to lead. She'll be vocal. She'll give you every element of the intangibles that you want out of a leader. And the thing is, Pam, they follow her because they trust her.
Terrific leadership from that point guard spot. First team All-American last year, should be again this year, and along with Christy Tolliver, the two premier point guards in the nation this season. But right now, UConn is trailing Cal by 2. Maya Moore is tremendous. Turns, shoots, and hits. That's Maya's first bucket.
And Renee Montgomery's had the majority of the shots early, but Maya Moore has got to get herself available in transition and work in their quarter court to find a way to get some touches. Cal's really keen on her.
UConn 6 of 18 so far from the floor. Walker with the spin, and she's fouled by McLaren. McLaren continuing to play for Tina Charles, who has a couple of fouls and is on the bench.
It's a great isolation by Cal off the timeout. That's what you call an easy scoring opportunity, when your coach can draw it up and you can execute it exactly as drawn on the grease board. You want Ashley Walker to get touches in space. Maya Moore has that matchup, and one way to attack Maya Moore is to make her play defense and force her into action.
Walker with 8 points, gets to the line more than any other Bear, has given Joanne Boyle so much credit, says that she's the one who has brought this program to where it is today, because she was one of those who was not recruited by Boyle.
She's second in career scoring, and she's the all-time leading rebounder in the history of Cal basketball.
Tremendous player, the senior out of Modesto, California. Green to the bucket, rebound taken down by Hampton.
Sometimes Cal will mix up and extend their pressure, not necessarily to get a steal, but to try to take time off the clock and make Connecticut execute.
Hampton posting up hard against McLaren, gets the ball and then gives it over to Walker. Nicely done by the two big girls.
Walker and Hampton pass the ball in the interior, as well as Courtney and Ashley Paris. They're so connected on the inside. All seniors that have played together for 4 years.
That is saying something, because the Paris sisters have had that connection since birth. Walker with 11 of Cal's 19 points. That shot rims out. Rebound taken down by Hampton. And the Bears, who have not substituted yet, push tempo. Vital. Misses from the outside. Green boards it, and UConn pushes. Hayes takes it right to Greif and puts it in. Hayes, the freshman out of Lakeland, Florida, has 8 points.
And here's the thing for Cal. They're going to sacrifice going to the offensive boards. If you're going to sacrifice that, you better G up in transition. You can't let Hayes go coast to coast off the bounce.
That was part of the strategy of Joanne Boyle. Don't crash the offensive boards. You can get people back in transition. Ray Lawson cups out. Maya Moore boards it for Connecticut.
And a dangerous thing for Cal would be just to turn into a jump shooting team. You got to get touches on the block, Pam, and Walker's working for position.
And Renee Montgomery with the three. And UConn takes the lead. These two teams have met twice previously, the last time in 1994.
You look at Walker, you got to give her a touch in there if she's working hard for position, because if you don't, the big girls will quit working hard inside.
Ray Lawson gets it out to Greif, nails it.
And they're reversing the basketball. They're shifting the zone. They're trying to find open shots. They really have done a good job of moving the basketball, has Cal.
Greif's first bucket. Hampton has yet to score. Another three, and that goes in over Walker.
Boy, Connecticut is really lighting it up outside the arc. They're shooting 4 for 7 outside the three-point line.
That's Hayes with 11.
Especially with Tina Charles not in the game right now, you think that Cal would do a better job defending the three, because you don't have as much of a threat on the blocks without Charles.
You also would think they would go inside more, but there's a good double team. Hayes all over Hampton, McLaren all over Hampton. And now that's 2 on Kylie.
Yeah, I like that strategy by Joanne Boyle. And I'm telling you, the last 3 possessions, Walker has had great position inside. You got to feed the big girl. Watch how hard Ashley Walker's going to do the work before the ball gets inside, and then she's going to make a power move to the basket. to challenge McLaren. Excuse me, that's Hampton. Did I call her Walker? Well,
Yes,
I certainly know the difference between the two.
Yeah, well, this is Devonay Hampton from Oakland. Her first point, she was terrific in that win against Virginia. 22 points and 5 steals. The Cal Bears put up 99 against the Cavaliers to get here to Trenton.
Walker and Hampton, Pam, combined for 54 points. They went 22 for 34 from the floor together. That's a post presence.
Hampton with the basket, the big three. If you put in Gray Lawson, scored 76 of the 99 points against UVA, and Cal takes the lead back.
You know, Alexis Gray Lawson has the Maya Moore matchup.
Montgomery had it. Another miss, and the rebound goes to the Bears. Vital goes by. Oh, what a pass! Terrific job inside to Walker.
And that time, Connecticut does not do a good job in matching up in transition.
Walker, who had 32 against Virginia, tying her career high, has 13 so far in this game. Moore elevates. Can't get it to go home.
That's a contested shot by Maya Moore. When Connecticut has had some open looks because they've moved the basketball, made the extra pass.
Vital on the baseline. Gets it over to Gray Lawson, who puts up a circus shot going down, and the shot goes down.
You've got to be kidding me, that shot went in.
How about that? The Bears now by 5. Shooting 56% from the floor, and the UConn fans are exhorting their team to get back in this. This ties Cal's biggest lead. Green goes by the defender Walker, but can't get it in. Greif slows things down.
Good decision by Greif.
She is the smart one. There's a bunch of smart kids at this school, but Greif is a tremendous student athlete.
She's on the All-Brainiac team.
When you make first team All-Academic in that league with Stanford, that's saying something.
Well, the high-low game has worked.
Walker's already hit one from out there, make it 2. This is the biggest deficit that UConn has faced all season. Down 8 to the Cal Bears, and Gina Oriama takes a timeout.
Ashley Walker comes into the game having made 10 threes all season, and she hits 2 in the first half. She's got 16 points already coming off a 32-point performance against Virginia. She's got Maya Moore on her, who's trying to stick a hand in a three-point shooter's face. Dare we call Ashley Walker a three-point shooter? And look at this right here. If you're going to beat the #1 team in the country who hasn't been beaten all year, you got to have shots like that go down, Pam.
And she was hit by Maya Moore. No foul was called. And again, to reiterate, the Huskies have not trailed by more than 6 points all year in their 35-0 season. Cal has scored the last 9 points of this game to go up by 8.
I think it's just like Maryland going down 18 to Vanderbilt yesterday. You don't really start worrying about Connecticut until the 10-minute mark in the second half. And if things aren't going their way, then I think you get a little worried about it.
I don't think anybody's thinking that UConn's out of this game, but they are down by 8.
There's a balance. I mean, there's always, if you don't talk about, there's the elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about, you know, UConn being 35-0. So yeah, we discuss it, we talk about it. Our kids have played an underdog role a lot in their 4 years, so they're used to that, you know. But at some point, you stop talking about it and you start saying, what do we need to do in order to be successful in this game?
Joanne Boyle talked about winning segments of the basketball game. Well, we've played 3, and she's 3-0 right now. She's got her team playing with a confidence. Some of the things that you have to be able to contend with Connecticut is a post presence, and certainly Ashley Walker and Devonay Hampton have 18 points of the 31, so they're getting the ball to the people that need to be scoring for Cal to pull to be ahead in the game.
Walker with 16 of those 18. Montgomery leaves it short. McLaren boards it and puts it in over Hampton.
Kylie McLaren played 27 minutes in the Florida game, her season high. She may have to play 27 today.
She had 4 rebounds and 6 assists in that game. Here's a steal. Montgomery can't get it. Moore saves it into Renee, who is fouled. NCAA Women's Basketball Championship continues on ESPN2 tonight with both Oklahoma City regional semis. First at 7:30 Eastern, Rutgers takes on Purdue. Then at 9:30, it's Pitt and Oklahoma. ESPN, your exclusive home of the Women's NCAA Women's Championship.
I wonder if Purdue will have an answer for Kia Vaughn if they throw the ball inside Rutgers and get her established early.
Vaughn has been tremendous. They've finally gotten the ball into her, and it's been a different team. Cal's first sub, Vital, is on the court, on the bench with 2 fouls. Maya Moore, yes.
Good execution. Good read by Renee Montgomery. See, Connecticut looking to extend their defense.
Kelsey Adrian, number 11, has checked in for Cal. She is not much of an offensive threat at all, only hitting 27% of her shots.
And watch Walker and McLaren go to work on the inside. Excuse me, Hampton and Walker. Hampton and McLaren.
Now on the switch, Hampton was open momentarily, but they didn't get it to her. Shot clock at 6. Now Hampton has it, has to fire up a 3, and that one barely touched iron. That's only her 6th 3 of the year. She's hit 2 of them. Montgomery switches around in the lane, and this that was really high degree of difficulty, and even Renee couldn't get it in.
Man-to-man defense by Connecticut. They really don't want to extend because of the depth issue, Pam. They like to just D up right here in the quarter court. I think their defense has been underrated all season in the quarter court.
Shot clock again, inside of 10 seconds, now at 5. Gray Lawson up against Green, runs into McLaren, gives it out, and no, she did not get the shot off on time. It didn't matter, Adrian's shot didn't even draw iron. So there's an example of the defense for UConn.
Last 2 possessions defensively, Connecticut forces a tough 3 and then gets a shot clock violation.
That's the 6th turnover. Rebecca Lobo has a lot to tweet about these days. Follow her at twitter.com. Go to Find People, search Rebecca Lobo. She's providing behind-the-scenes, real-time access throughout this tournament. Check out her Twitter posts, as well as her blog on ESPN.com, and we highly recommend them. She was able to do it all, sideline report and tweet simultaneously, and do both very well. Shot clock inside of 10 now for Montgomery. Moore for 3.
Good interior pass by McLaren, who you mentioned had those 6 assists last game.
A couple of them very sweet in the roll over Florida. UConn has answered.
I think Connecticut just showed great poise right there offensively. Good composure.
Down by 8 at one point. Now they're back up by 1. Rims out for Walker. Warren Dixon, number 30, in for the Huskies. Gets it over to Hayes. And a timeout by Joanne Boyle. UConn has come storming back to take the lead.
McLaren doing a great job working without the basketball, catching it in the high post area, and then watch draws it, just a little pump fake, little ball fake to seal the defense a little bit, make them freeze, and then Maya Moore runs the baseline hard, wide open outside the 3-point line.
Moore with 7 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists so far for the Huskies.
A little thing like that, Pam, a little ball fake by McLaren to the basket, which makes the Cal defense react, gives Maya Moore just a little bit extra time to set her feet.
California has seen its 8-point lead erased. They now trail by 1. Let's go over to Rebecca Lobo for more on Kylie McLaren. Pam and Debbie, good teams have players who know their roles. When I was talking to Kylie McLaren yesterday, she said, when I get in a game, I have to be productive. What do I do well? She said, I rebound, I play defense, and I get Renee and Maya open and know when to get them the ball. And that's what you saw in that last possession. And she's done a terrific job. Tina Charles has been out since the 14:07 mark with 2 fouls. McLaren has been in. Shot clock again at 5. Turnover. Dixon blows by Greif and travels.
You know what? though, it's the Connecticut defense that's changed the complexion of the game. It's their D in the quarter court. They have forced Cal into some tough offensive possessions.
First time today, Cal has lost a 4-minute segment, and they've also lost the lead.
Trey Wingo, Carol Lawson, Carolyn Peck. Guys, UConn may have the lead, but they had to battle back from their largest deficit of the season against Cal, 8 points to do it.
No, they're doing it with their defense, and Cal a little bit discombobulated on the offensive end. They need to remain patient and consistent with their game plan.
Well, Gino Ariema delivered to Maya Moore. Get involved. You're the best player in the country. Play like it.
And then she delivered. By the way, keep this in mind as we're going through the end of the first half. UConn has never trailed at the half all year. Let's go back out to Pam Ward and Deb Antonelli.
Thank you, Trey. In fact, they've only been tied once at the half all year, and that was way back in the first game of the season against Georgia Tech.
Well, I agree with Kara. It's the defense for Connecticut that turned their emotional tide around. Plus, Cal got away from getting the ball to Walker. Only had one shot in that segment.
It was a 9-0 UConn run. Alexis Gray Lawson can't get it in. 5 of those 9 points came off of Cal turnovers in that run. Moore left open for a second. Hayes gives him a fresh 30.
That's 10 offensive rebounds for Connecticut.
Hayes has been terrific in the first half with 13 points. McLaren going right at Hampton. Didn't get the foul call, but did get the rebound for Cal. Now Joanne Boyle calls a play for Gray Lawson. Adrian, closely guarded by Montgomery, has the height advantage and then runs into McLaren. Stopped up the lane. Greif gets the rebound. The shot clock did not reset. Hampton with the turnaround. McLaren one-hands the board.
That's tough defense right there. McLaren holding her ground on Hampton.
Inside, Moore can't get it. Rebound taken down by Hampton. Inside of 2 minutes, UConn with a 1-point lead. Cal has not scored in almost 5 minutes.
A good skip pass.
Skipping off the rim by Adrian, and the drought continues. Boy, Walker usually can hit that shot in her sleep. Hayes has 15.
What confidence by the freshman Tiffany Hayes, pulling up in transition.
Confidence had been an issue with her early in the season. And she has really exerted herself and shown herself well so far in this game. Up 3. Hampton calling for it inside. Shot clock again at 5. This has been a theme in the last several minutes for the Bears. And a block shot by Montgomery on Adrian.
And if the shot clock's running down, Pam, Kelsey Adrian's not the player that Cal wants to have the basketball. Alexis Gray Lawson needs to go back and get the ball, or Ashley Walker's got to demand it.
Adrian only averaging a little over 3 points per game. We already mentioned she's 27% from the floor on the season. A sophomore out of Langley, British Columbia. McLaren with the post move.
And they're going to a clear out for McLaren, letting her go one-on-one on Hampton. Both those players look tired in this matchup right now, and Hampton has had to play all 20 minutes.
Walker called for the charge. Maya Moore drew it. First foul on Walker.
Anytime officials have 2 whistles on this, there's no question about it, and 2 officials had whistles on this, being a charge on Walker. Last shot, Pam.
Cal's drought now about 6.5 minutes. Hayes has it blocked by Walker, but they say she fouled her. That's 2 quick ones on the leading scorer and rebounder for the Bears. Hampton, Devonay Hampton, only 2 points so far in this game, Deb. Both of those coming from the free throw line.
Right, she has not had a basket. And you would have thought that with Tina Charles with 2 fouls and sitting early, Charles has only played 6 minutes in the first half, that would have opened up the interior, because Connecticut's is a shot blocking team with her presence on the floor.
McLaren's done a really good job bottling things up. Hayes misses the first of two. ESPN, your NBA destination tonight. Two of the top teams in the Western Conference. It's the Spurs and the Hornets in good old New Orleans. The NBA on ESPN and ESPN360.com tonight at 8 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Tiffany Hayes now with 16 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. Cal trying to finally score.
And they got to go to Hampton here without Walker on the floor.
Ray Lawson, but the fake gets fouled. With 3.4 seconds left to go, they have a chance to score.
Ray Lawson doing a great job of rubbing off the screen, getting Renee Montgomery up in the air to draw the foul.
First team all Pac-10 performer, played high school with Devin A. Hampton in Oakland, and the drought has finally ended for Cal. Went 6.5 minutes plus without a point. .4 seconds left. You know, the UConn's thinking about getting another opportunity to score. Dixon is fast as lightning, goes the length of the floor, but didn't get it off in time. Connecticut closed that half on a 12-2 run to take a 35-33 lead into the locker room. Let's go over to Rebecca.
Coach, you were down 8 with 6.5 to go until you went on that 12-2 run. What was the difference in that run?
I thought defensively we picked it up a little bit, and the refs stopped calling fouls. I mean, it's been a struggle for us to get to the free throw line and keep them off the free throw line. Now, we talked about before coming out here that no threes and no free throws, and they would have a hard time scoring. So I think the only way they've scored is threes and free throws.
And when the officials do call it tight in the post like this, how do you want your post players to adjust the way they're defending?
Well, I don't know that you can adjust. I mean, all we can keep doing is try to guard them the best we can. We got to do the same thing down that end. If they're calling it tight here, then we got to make sure we give the officials a chance to call it down the other end.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Pam, 21 of their 33 points coming on threes and free throws. Cal, in its last 14 possessions, 0 for 8 from the floor with 5 turnovers. UConn heading into the locker room with a 35-33 lead. Let's send it to Trey Wingo in the studio.
All right, Pam, thanks very much. What a regional semifinal we have brewing in Trenton at the half. UConn with a 2-point lead. Trey Wingo here with Carol Lawson and Carolyn Peck. Okay, so UConn responds. They're down by 8 in the first half, their largest deficit of the entire season. They go on a 12-2 run to take the lead at the break. But the only reason that Cal is in this game, Carol, is because Ashley Walker is doing a little bit of everything, a post player who has 2 threes in the first half.
Yeah, Ashley Walker has been the focal point of the Cal offense all season long, and she was that focal point in this first half. We talk about getting post touches a lot, Carolyn. I think you got to get post scores against UConn. It's not about your post players touching the ball. It's about getting in there and getting scores. Now, what Ashley Walker did here was really frustrating because she did hit those 2 threes, but it's been about her finishing, and you must finish against Connecticut because that makes them take the ball out on a made shot and does not give them the ability to get out and run off of misses or in transition.
Well, Connecticut had to find an answer for Ashley Walker, and that was with their defense. Gino did a nice job. He called a timeout. He chewed a little tail, and he told Maya Moore, listen, you need to step your game up. Renee Montgomery was non-existent either, out on the perimeter. What he did is he extended his defense. He started to press some. He dropped back, mixed in a little triangle and 2, and kept Cal off balance. That led to then transition baskets to get the offensive flow going for Connecticut.
Yeah, there was a string there of 4 straight stops where Cal either ran out the shot clock and couldn't get a shot off or had to throw up junk, basically, as the shot clock was expiring. That really changed the game. All right, just so you understand what we're seeing in this game for UConn and Cal that we've never seen with the Huskies. They trailed for the first time in March, 7 games. It's the second closest halftime score of the season. They were tied with Georgia Tech when the season began. And again, they faced their largest deficit of the season, down by 8. How'd they respond? On a 12-2 run where they held Cal without a field goal for the final 6+ minutes of the first half. When We go well, just moments away from the start of the second half between Cal and UConn. What kind of adjustments do these teams need to make in the second half?
Well, I think if you're UConn, you take a lot of confidence from the last 5 minutes defensively, and I thought what was particularly stellar about their defense was the extension of aggressiveness on the perimeter to combat a great post game. Get those guards a little bit hurried, Carolyn.
Well, that's the thing that Cal did. They started to play fast and rushed. They've got to go back to playing composured basketball. And if UConn's going to be aggressive on the perimeter, that's even more reason to establish Devontae Hampton and Ashley Walker in the paint. Tina Charles has 2 fouls, so she's going to play a little careful early.
Keep this in mind as you watch the second half of this game. UConn has trailed in one game for one moment the entire season. That was February 22nd, a home game at Gamble Pavilion against Notre Dame. They were down, then they went on a 22-1 run to essentially put that game away. So if UConn falls behind at any point in the second half, we may be really seeing something. Tiffany Hayes did her part in the first half. 16 points, UConn by 2, second half, regional semifinal coming up.
We're back in Trenton in the first half. The score was tied 3 times. The lead changed 8 times. Connecticut down by as much as 8. Now with a 2-point lead over Cal here in the Sweet 16 in Trenton. Pam Ward along with Deb Antonelli. California had as much as that 8-point lead, but what do they have to do to stay in this game here in the second half?
Well, I think it's important for Ashley Walker and Devontae Hampton to continue to work on the blocks. Tina Charles only played 6 minutes in that first half, so she's going to come back in the second half, and she's going to be fresh.
Yeah, they didn't really take much advantage of Tina Charles being on the bench as we take a look now at our Home Depot coaching adjustment.
Well, this is what I think Cal's going to have to do in the second half. Post touches on the interior. Watch how hard Hampton works inside. Cal's going to reverse the basketball, and then Ashley Walker's going to dive to the basket, set a screen, and ultimately she's going to be the one that's open. Look how wide the base is for Hampton inside. She's calling for the basketball, and then she draws enough help on the weak side to allow Walker, who was the screener, to be open. 3-point shooting by Connecticut's the other thing. Cal's got to do a better job of defending the arc because Connecticut can get the 3 in transition. They can get it off their quick hitters with a weak side screen. They also can reverse the basketball. Against the junk defense that Cal mixed up in the first half, I thought Connecticut, particularly Hayes, did a great job of finding herself open for some open looks.
Hayes with 16 points, only 7 off her career high. Connecticut as a team 5 for 10 from 3-point range. Devontae Hampton only 2 points in the first half. She's got the ball now for Cal. Did not score a field goal, and that one wasn't close.
What's interesting for Gino Auriemma is he starts Kylie McLaren along with Charles to provide that bigger size against Hampton and Walker. It also means to me that he wants to go inside and get Charles going early in the second half.
And Moore draws contact and a foul against the Bears. Let's go over to Rebecca Lobo with more on the Bears.
Well, Pam, I talked to Joanne Boyle, and she said Connecticut is going to come out with some firepower. I'm sure he's telling his team to continue to push it. We need to maintain our composure. It's going to be important to get on the glass. And X's and O's, she's just going to keep changing up defenses. She said we need to find a balance. Tiffany Hayes hit a lot of shots in the first half. She felt they did a pretty good job limiting other people's touches, but it's going to be trouble if Maya Moore stays hot.
Pam, we've been talking about segments all first half. This segment in the second half might be the most critical one for Cal. They've got to withstand the intensity that Rebecca's talking about that you know Connecticut's going to bring on both ends.
And those are the 4-minute segments under which Joanne Boyle measures her team. Kylie McLaren, who gave Gino Auriemma a very solid 14 minutes in the first half, in for Tina Charles, who was on the bench with 2 fouls, caused that tie-up. McLaren, go ahead, I'm sorry, just a block, an assist, 4 rebounds in those minutes, good minutes.
It's a lot of the intangible things that she brings, plus the size to counter what Hampton and Walker have.
How do you counter Maya Moore? She misses the shot, McLaren gets the rebound and throws it to Janine Pence, who is an official and not a Husky.
Well, she did have some white on.
Yes, that's true. Kylie knew right away, but I don't know how Gino can get too upset with her. McLaren's given her some terrific minutes in these 3 games in the NCAA tournament. She certainly has given him some gray hairs since she came to campus. Moore with a rebound. So Polina Green not starting the second half. Nice crossover by Hayes, who heads to the free throw line. McLaren starting the second half in favor of Green. 2 on Lauren Greif, 2 personals.
Boy, Hayes has been so active on the offensive end. She's been able to be effective in transition. She's been good playing without the basketball, making herself open against the jump defense in the first half that we saw Cal play.
Known as a defensive stopper, leads the team in charges taken, but is showing a lot of offensive prowess. UConn extends its biggest lead now with Hayes' 2 free throws. The lead is 6. The Huskies trailed by as many as 8 in the first half. Moore working on Greif. Hampton trying to get around McLaren and short-armed it. Ball on the floor off of Connecticut.
Devin A. Hampton still without a bucket, and you got to credit some of that to Kylie McLaren, and part of the reason why Gino Auriemma started her in the second half. Both the Cal post players can handle, can pass, and can shoot it. McLaren just gives them more size in that Hampton matchup.
Hampton averaging just over 9 points per game. Walker delivers her 18th point.
They would like to keep Charles on Walker because she's the more mobile of the 2 Cal post players.
Charles, who sat for 14 minutes of the first half with foul trouble, hits her first shot of the second half. That field goal that Cal made on its last trip was its first field goal made in 19 possessions. Left all alone momentarily, and Hampton finally gets a field goal.
Wide open on the baseline. Miscommunication by Connecticut's defense.
Oh, Hayes is on fire.
Well, Greif's got to do a better job than just putting a hand up, and that was a terrific screen and transition by Charles to allow Hayes to have some space.
She's up to 20. That's 3 off of her season and career high. 23 against Louisville. She hit 6 of 10 threes in that game. Greif left open for a 3. McLaren with the board. Cal started this game red hot from the floor, but it cooled down considerably. Montgomery blowing by Vital. Yes, and the foul.
And a great take on the baseline by Montgomery. Keeps her eyes on the rim, knows the contact's coming, does a great job of finishing, works her way to the free throw line. Connecticut starting to pull away.
I love my family, but the Jerry curl has got to go. In high school, my boyfriend played wide receiver. He just couldn't catch me. This was one court I could never dominate. I lost the homecoming crown.
One of the few things that Renee Montgomery has ever lost in her life. From St. Albans, West Virginia, played in the same backcourt in high school as Alexis Hornbuckle. That must have been a pretty good team, huh?
Well, Renee Montgomery has only lost 10 games in her 4-year career at Connecticut. It's pretty impressive. That's just amazing. This is her 137th consecutive start.
Completes the three-point play. The largest lead for the Huskies extends to 10. Let's go over to Rebecca Lobo, who was listening to the Cal huddle.
And Coach Boyle was fired up. She said to her team, you played 20 good minutes and now you're satisfied with it. You have to play these next 20 like it's your last 20. You're jogging. Of course they're getting layups. Of course they're fouling. Don't be satisfied. Be ticked off.
She's ticked off. Alexis Gray-Lawson hits the 3. She's into double figures. We're at 10.
Cal came into this game only turning the ball over 19 times in their 2 prior games. They've only turned it over 10 times against Connecticut's defense so far. When they make the extra pass like that last possession, and they get an open look.
But Connecticut can't miss from 3-point range. Maya Moore's turn to bury one.
And Cal's got to do a better job of getting out and closing out on Connecticut shooters.
They are 7 for 12 from 3. It's 58%. Gray-Lawson got herself into a little bit of trouble. Charles and Walker battle for it. They say it's off of the Husky. Maya Moore leading the charge. It's been a parade of threes for UConn. They've come from 8 down to take a 10-point lead. Connecticut had a 2-point lead at the half in the Sweet 16 matchup against the Bears, but they have come out and outscored them 15-7 so far to take a 10-point lead. The NCAA Women's Basketball Championship continues on ESPN2 tonight in Oklahoma City. First at 7:30 Eastern, Rutgers takes on Purdue. Then at 9:30 Eastern, Pitt takes on the top seed out there in Oklahoma. ESPN, your exclusive home of the Women's NCAA Championship. We are joining you from Trenton, New Jersey. It's the capital of the Garden State. And the winner of this game will play the winner of Arizona State, Texas A&M on Tuesday night. The winner Tuesday heads to St. Louis and the Final Four. California trying to claw their way back into this basketball game. They've been outscored 27-9 over the last 11 minutes plus.
Well, how about the freshman Tiffany Hayes? 7 for 8 from the floor, 4 for 5 from the arc. She's got 21.
And Connecticut actually is shooting better from three-point range today than two. 36% on twos, 58% in threes. And Hayes has been a big part of that. No shot. Tina Charles shuffled her feet before she got it off. Only the third Connecticut turnover.
Yeah, it's amazing what a good job Connecticut does. They typically don't turn it over. They don't foul, so they don't put you to the free throw line. Average 84.5 points a game, lead the nation, and lead the nation in field goal percentage as well.
Yeah, they lead the nation in about half a dozen major categories and are second in scoring defense behind Green Bay, which was a NCAA tournament team this year.
And Maya Moore doing a great job not letting Greif use that screen.
Boy, they go inside to Hampton, who couldn't hang onto it cleanly. Ball's tied up, but possession arrow keeps it with Cal. Kylie McLaren with more quality minutes off the bench for UConn. The shot clock only at 4 for the Bears. Greif inbounds it. Gray Lawson, little pump fake, puts it up. Rebound McLaren.
Great box out by McLaren on Devin A. Hampton.
Inside, Charles goes down for it. It's picked up by Walker.
You mentioned turnovers, Pam. That's back-to-back for Connecticut.
Vital, one of the starters for Cal. They rely heavily on their starting 5. Oh, Montgomery got right in the way and came up with some nice thievery. What a great player she is. Oh, Hayes going for it. Has tied her career high with 23. Montgomery's third steal of the game set up that possession.
I think Tiffany Hayes wants it to be the big 4, not the big 3 anymore.
Moore, Charles, and Montgomery, the big 3 for Connecticut, but their leading scorer today is Hayes with 23. Foul on Montgomery.
Well, Montgomery trying to pick it up on the defensive end. Now watch her shoot the gap right here. That's just telegraphed into the post, and that she made it look easy. She's read the eyes. And then on the other side, off the steal, Hayes with an easy layup in transition.
Who's the best point guard in the country this year?
I think Renee Montgomery is the best point guard. I think Christy Tolliver is a converted point guard who is a natural 2. If you ask me who's a better shooter, I say Christy Tolliver's a better shooter.
Greif from the outside, a little bit too strong. And Montgomery leading the charge. And with an incredible come-from-behind win yesterday against Vanderbilt, 42 from Marissa Coleman, who's got to be a first-team All-American, right?
Oh, no question in my mind. She's one of my top 5 players in the country. She was 15 for 27 from the floor was Coleman.
Would not let him lose. Also had 15 rebounds. Hayes going in strongly and draws a foul. Boy, Tiffany Hayes, known as one of the defensive stoppers on this team, really flashing it on the offensive side.
And here's a great example of the unselfishness in the team concept for Connecticut. She's got the hot hand. So they reverse the basketball to her and they let her go one-on-one. That has been a tough matchup for Cal all afternoon.
Hayes can set a new career high at the line. And does so. And we talked to Maya Moore yesterday, and And one thing that she talked about was sharing the basketball. And that really, when your best player and someone as talented as Maya Moore is concentrating on sharing the ball, that tells you a whole lot.
I always think Maya defers to Renee, and I think Renee defers to Maya, and I think that's part of the reason why their chemistry is so good. You've got arguably three of the best players by position. We've been saying that since October about them. Tina Charles is proving that she just might be one of the best centers in the country.
Walker into Hampton, who got fouled.
When you start talking about the best centers in the country, you got to talk about Jane Appel at Stanford, and you got to talk about Kia Vaughn at Rutgers, and how about Courtney Paris at Oklahoma? Players that you know can score, can defend, can rebound, give you a post presence.
3 fouls on Renee Montgomery for Connecticut, but the senior has done terrific. She's played with 3 fouls and has a great ability not to pick up that 4th. Vital hits the 3. McLaren pops. And rebound taken down by Hampton. Here come the Bears. Gray Lawson decides to pull it out. Good job by Hayes to get back on D.
Now that's terrific transition defense because the outlet went all the way to midcourt.
Hampton, got a block from behind by Moore. Charles over to Maya, just like that.
Look how hard they run the floor and make it difficult to match up in transition. Run the floor wide, too.
UConn's lead 13. Cal, the 4 seed in the Trenton region. Hampton, nice pass over to Walker, who took a step. UConn going for its 36th win of the season, up 13. All right, Trey, and ESPN is your NBA destination tonight. You can catch 2 of the top teams in the West. Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, and the Spurs head to New Orleans to face Chris Paul and the Hornets. NBA on ESPN and ESPN360.com tonight at 8 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Beignets for everyone in New Orleans. Mark Aguirre is here. He had a terrific career with the Mavericks in the NBA, and his daughter, Angela, is a freshman for California. Doesn't get a whole lot of playing time. We have not seen her in the game today, but both Mark and Magic Johnson actually spoke to the team, came to a team breakfast when they were playing in Los Angeles, and the kids, as you might expect, were all excited about that.
Well, who wouldn't be? Be excited to hear what Magic Johnson had to say, a little bit of inspiration.
Yeah, it's gotten kind of the old hat with Mark around because he's Angele's dad, but Magic was electric, as is Renee Montgomery. Into double figures now with 11.
I got to believe this trip down, Ashley Walker has to get the touch for Cal. Since the 3 minutes left in the first half, she's 1 for 2 from the floor. That's not enough shots for her, Pam.
Got to get her the basketball. The leading scorer, just under 20 points per game. Has 18, but most of those in the first half. 16 of the 18 in the first half. Hampton working against Charles. Good defense by Charles, who's been playing with the 2 fouls. The ball stays with the Bears.
See, to me, Pam, while Hampton has continued to work hard for position, has posted up on the inside, Walker has started to fade. Walker carried them in the early part of the game. She's got to be the player for them who led the Pac-10 in scoring. She's got to have the ball in her hands.
Both of them seniors, hoping this is not their final collegiate game. Off the screen, Alexis Gray Lawson, but they've got Hampton, for the moving screen. That's 3 personals on the senior from Oakland. Largest lead of the game is 16 for the Huskies, who are on a 36-12 run. They at one point trailed by 8 in the first half.
I like sets for Connecticut with Hayes at the point because I think that frees up Renee Montgomery a little bit to work without the ball, and I think she's terrific in that.
Moore can't get it. Walker with the outlet.
They were trying to get Montgomery off a flare screen, but Cal stuffed it pretty good.
And Maya Moore stuck a hand in there to stop the fast break.
Connecticut has done a great job getting back in transition in the second half.
Gray Lawson with the shot clock inside at 10. Gets it to Walker. Moore flopped. And Walker, even when she's wide open, couldn't hit that, and a foul on the floor against Connecticut.
They love to run this play right here to get Walker free in space where she can go off the bounce. She turns to the inside, and you see Moore trying to draw the charge. She's already drawn one today.
Elena Green was whistled for her first personal foul.
Seems to me that Ashley Walker's degree of difficulty has gone up as the game has progressed, and it could be because Connecticut's defense is really keyed on her and tried to lock her down since she had 16 points in the first half.
Just 2 of them since the break, and we're halfway through the second half.
Walker's got Kalena Green on her. She needs to stay on the box and post her up.
Instead, she comes out to set the screen, a little pick and roll. She goes hard to the basket. Charles gets the misfire. Montgomery in 5th gear already, blows by everybody for the basket.
Renee Montgomery, change of pace in the open floor, Pam. So fun to watch.
Connecticut has hit 9 of its 12 shots from the floor in the second half, and they have blown this thing wide open.
Watch the acceleration, a little stop and go, a little hesitation. Look how quick this is, stutter. She's got Gray Lawson on her heels, just pushing and attacking in transition.
Montgomery with 13 points so far, the only Husky in the top 6 in assists, steals, scoring, and threes in the history of that great program. She is special. ESPN.com poll question: which team will win the Trenton region where we are? There are your choices. There are 4 teams we have left, and
well, of course, that's no surprise. I'm surprised it's only 82% there.
18% of you think someone else, and we'll see Texas A&M take on Arizona State in our second game here today. A couple of really good defensive squads. Tiffany Hayes does not agree that she just picked up her first foul. Boy, she's had a heck of a game.
She sure has. She hasn't done much wrong today.
A new career high, 25 points for the freshman from Lakeland, Florida.
You know, when Connecticut has seen so much junk all season, box and 1 on Moore, triangle 2 on Moore and Montgomery, Gino Auriemma challenges his other players to say, they're saying you can't play.
Right.
They're going to play junk on us. They're basically saying to you, Tiffany Hayes, you don't have any skills offensively. Well, guess what?
She does, and Kalena Green does as well. Goes in for her 4th point. Lost her headband and continues to play. And the lead is 20. Connecticut has won 20 games by at least 30 this year, and that one is wiped away by steps. Walker finally got a bucket, but that doesn't count because you can't walk. Tonight we skate closer to the Frozen Four. New Hampshire and Boston University meet. The Northeast Regional Semis continue on ESPNU at 5:30 Eastern. For live stats and game recaps from every round of every championship, go to NCAA.com, the home for all 88 NCAA championships. College men's hockey coming your way tonight on ESPNU. Terrific pass, Charles into Green, but that's a good block by Hampton. 12 seconds left on the shot clock for the Huskies. Huskies have not been tested much this season. This was their biggest test, 8-point deficit, the largest of the season. But they have come back with a vengeance. Tina Charles travels. Gino Auriemma gives her some encouragement from the sideline.
I thought their toughness came through when they trailed 31-23 on the defensive end, when they really got a couple of stops, forced shot clock violations, and forced Cal into some contested shots late in the shot clock. They got a little confidence off of that.
Shot clock inside of 10. Gray Lawson elevates well short. That one had no chance.
I think Cal looks fatigued. They have worked so hard to get that lead in the first half. Walker and Hampton have continued to battle on the inside. They just don't have any depth inside.
Star Watch update, Ashley Walker with 18 points, but only 2 in the second half. Maya Moore has been tremendous in all facets, but the offensive star with 25, a new career high
for Tiffany Hayes. And it looks like a box and one with Gray Lawson on Moore right now. Do they chase Maya Moore on the baseline?
And a foul. Walker picks up number 3. Hacked Kalena Green. UConn well on its way to another appearance in the Elite Eight.
UConn has won the national championship.
Connecticut has done it. 39-0. Connecticut is perfect. They did it. UConn wins 3 national championships in a row.
This team doesn't believe in losing. They only see one thing, and that's the national championship.
Connecticut has not won a national championship since 2004, and that is an eternity for the folks who live in Connecticut. And there's the main cog in the first national championship, the National Player of the Year, our colleague Rebecca Lobo, who was there in '95. Jen Rosati, the terrific point guard on that team. We all have that image of her running around the court in Minneapolis as they defeated Tennessee for the second time in that season and really started what has become a dynasty. And then a couple of years later, Carol Walters, who was on that '95 team, she was the National Player of the Year 2 years later. And now is working as an analyst for the UConn radio network.
How about that high-low game? Rebecca Lobo and Carol Walters.
Yeah, when Rebecca's the short one at 6'4". Oh, what a swat. UConn's firing on all cylinders. They only were up by 2 at the half. Rebecca Lobo was listening to the last UConn huddle. B.
Why has Gino Auriemma had so much success? He's always looking for perfection. His team is up 20 in that last huddle. He said, this game is far from over. He said, you are not to let Cal attempt a 3 under any circumstances for the rest of this game. So guys, possession by possession, that's where he wants to see perfection.
And a rebound, Montgomery took it right away from Hampton. Then Walker gets it, and they are working towards that. Just when you think they can't get any better, they show you that they can.
Gino wouldn't be in 2 halls of fame if he wasn't demanding and didn't have a vision for what he expects to see with this team. Each possession. That's how you win it, possession by possession. I think he's done a great job of keeping the focus of this team on the next game, on the next play.
Tina Charles picks up her 3rd foul. She picked up 2 in the first 6 minutes of the game. They sat her for the last 14 minutes, and this young lady, Kylie McLaren, came in and gave them really good quality minutes. You would think that with the combination of Walker and Hampton, Cal could have taken advantage of Tina being on the bench, but it was not so.
When you look at Walker's scoring, she had to do a little of this, step outside the arc. That's her 3rd triple of the game.
Hit that one over Maya Moore. She had 16 points in the first 13-22, but until that 3, only had 2 over about 20 minutes of play.
She's never had a game in her career where she's hit 3 threes in the same game.
But she would trade that, I'm sure, for the victory and a way to elongate her senior season. No basket. That's a foul on Connecticut. On Wednesday, catch the NCAA Men's Swimming and Diving Championship at 3 Eastern on ESPN2. Find complete results from this event and the NCAA Women's Championship at NCAA.com, the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships. Elena Green called for her 2nd foul. Gino Auriemma demonstrating nimbly what he thought happened on that.
He's got good footwork over there. Why do you think his defense is so good? 9 Final Fours, and every time they've played for the national championship, Pam, they've won. He's 5-0 in that environment.
Unbeaten in national finals. Oh, Vital got it taken away. Montgomery got a paw on it, but they call a foul on her. So she got a little bit of the ball. 4 personals on Renee Montgomery. Only 1 UConn Husky has fouled out all season. And needless to say, it has not been Renee. 2 shots for Natasha Vital, a junior from Stockton, California. Her first point of the second half. This Cal team really galvanized by a trip they took to Africa last year before the season. One of their players, Rama Njai, is from Senegal, and they talked about how it's been a great theme for them and really put things in perspective for them. Montgomery sits down. But this Cal team relying so heavily on their 5 starters, down 64-48. Hayes can't miss. Does a little shoulder shake. They're coming down the floor as well.
I mean, is anybody going to guard her today?
28 points, 5 of 6 from 3.
Oh, great position inside.
McLaren was all over her, all over Hampton, and couldn't get off a clean shot. Greif hits the deck. Kalena Green fouled her.
When Devin A. Hampton catches that deep with 2 feet in the paint, double bury when you've got the defender in the net, you got to finish that.
How about Tiffany Hayes? 28 points today on only 10 shots. 9 of 10 from the floor, 5 of 6 from 3.
I think that would be the definition of efficiency on the offensive end.
More than efficient. A new career high for Hayes. The first to wear number 3 at UConn since the incomparable Diana Taurasi. She had they honor numbers at UConn. They don't retire them. And she asked Diana if she could wear it, and Taurasi said, sure, go ahead.
Isn't it interesting that we haven't seen number 3 in the NCAA tournament since '04, and look what number 3 does.
Yeah, in this tournament. The ironic thing is Hayes was not good. She was only 1 for 9 from 3-point range in the first 2 games of the NCAA tournament.
Oh, that's a nightmare right there. If Maya Moore catches it in the middle of the floor, an ISO, in the pinch post right there, and just sweeps it through and gets to the free throw line. We talked to her about going to the free throw line. Watch right here. There's no way Greif can defend this. I'm not sure anybody can defend that.
I'm not sure that was a foul, but anyway, Greif picks up her 3rd. The junior from Portland, and that sends Maya to the line.
And Maya said her goal is to get to the free throw line 3 times a game. Gino Auriemma constantly challenging her every day in practice to continue to get better. She's the kind of player that responds to all those challenges. So she's so competitive. She wants to win above anything else.
So she is a perfectionist. That was indeed Maya's first trip to the free throw line today. Hit them both. Lead up to 19. Ray Lawson defended by Dixon, who's checked in for Montgomery. Greif inside to Hampton. Working on McLaren. Turns over her other shoulder and puts it through.
McLaren turns to Tiffany Hayes and says, I got her. I've been checking her all game. I haven't needed any help. Hayes digs in and draws the foul. Watch Hampton right here go off the bounce. This is a great post move. McLaren has challenged her all game, playing behind the post. The 10 rebounds Joanne Boyle will take, but the 1 for 11 from the floor, that's tough.
Hampton puts the free throw home, but the lead is still substantial. Now some pressure from the Bears. Inside of 5 minutes.
Connecticut so good at welcoming that trap and then reversing the basketball. Good spacing, good execution.
And Dixon running the point to Green. Shot clock at 5. Dixon takes it right into the hole. And Connecticut holds on to the basketball. Renee Montgomery coming back in the game. The NCAA Women's Basketball Championship continues on ESPN2 tonight with both Oklahoma City regional semis. At 7:30 Eastern, Rutgers takes on Purdue. Then it's Pitt, Oklahoma, ESPN, your exclusive home of the Women's NCAA Championship. And boy, did Rutgers put a hurting on Auburn last weekend. Unexpected. They were playing on their home floor. Gino Auriemma has called the timeout.
Epiphany Prince, one of the most exciting guards in the country. We're going to see a pretty exciting one in our next game with Takia Starks from A&M.
We have Texas A&M and Arizona State coming up here from Trenton. Rebecca Lobo is tweeting these days. Yes, it's legal. You can follow her at twitter.com. Go to Find People, search Rebecca Lobo, providing real-time behind-the-scenes access throughout the Women's Championship. Check out her daily Twitter posts as well as her blogs on ESPN.com. And it's not just basketball stuff. It's great stuff.
It's witty, it's sharp, it's funny. Rebecca, what you working on over there?
Well, you guys have to say those things or else I can put something up there about you. But it's full of questions, actually, from a lot of Connecticut fans. No surprise. I'm thinking a lot of people on the West Coast might still be sleeping in on a Sunday. But people asking all kinds of questions about what the coaches are saying in their huddles, and I'm trying to share that information.
Working not just for us, but also online. The Bears, by the way, this is a 9 a.m. start, or was a 9 a.m. local start for them, but Joanne Boyle had them getting up early the last couple of days. Tina Charles with a terrific pass. That was a great cut by Green.
A little bit of a lack of focus by Cal here in the latter stages of the second half, but can't discount the season that Joanne Boyle has had. Back-to-back 27-win seasons, the best in the history of their program. She can coach.
Done a terrific job. Turned down the Duke job when Gail Gestencourt's left. Tina Charles, monstrous block on Hampton, who missed the follow as well. And Maya Moore screams at herself because she didn't hang on to the rebound. It's all right, Maya. You're good, and your team is up big. 71-53, the Huskies in control. Nobody calls bowling like Rob Stone. Coming up at 2 Eastern time, we implore you to go over to ESPN2. That's at the top of the hour for the NCAA Women's Championship special, followed by Arizona State and Texas A&M. And there is ASU getting ready to play A&M, and that's a lot of writing on that little chalkboard, huh? I'm writing by erase board.
Couldn't steal any secrets off of that. It was written down too small, too.
Charlie Turner-Thorne leading her Sun Devils, the second Pac-10 team that had to travel to Trenton.
We'll see a very good defensive game between ASU and Texas A&M, and see if A&M can get their transition game going, get some easy scoring opportunities.
Hampton fouls more. That's 4 on Devanay Hampton. This is not the way Devanay wanted to end her collegiate career at Cal. 2 of 14 from the floor, Deb.
Just a struggle for Devanay today, and going against Kylie McLaren, who I thought did a very good job holding her ground on the inside, and particularly when Tina Charles went out with those 2 fouls early. So the question would be, Connecticut with foul trouble, can they handle that kind of adversity? Well, Kylie McLaren certainly helped answer some of that today. She did a lot of the non-stat things too, Pam. Her work without the ball, the way she can set up some screens and free up her teammates, the way she posts up strong to demand a presence on the inside and frees up the outside. A lot of things like that don't go down in the stats, but things that coaches recognize.
She's had a tremendous NCAA tournament so far. 7 points, 4 boards today. Walker from the outside again. Can't get it to go home. Connecticut was only up 2 at the half, trailed by as many as 8 in this game. Travel gives the ball back to the Bears. But they came on like gangbusters, and UConn only has 7 turnovers, so that's only the 7th time Gino's had to grab his head like that over a turnover today.
It's an emphasis in the game. A little extra hop step by Renee Montgomery.
Oh, Maya Moore. Marvelous. Silky with a side of smooth.
Just does a great job of shooting the gap. They were trying to run that flare screen.
Good job by Charles to get in front of Hampton's shot. So Connecticut, Renee Montgomery and company await the winner of our second game here, which will be on ESPN2 a half hour of this after this one's done, between A&M, Texas A&M, and Arizona State.
Even though Connecticut had not been in that position all season in the first half, they sure did show a lot of maturity and composure.
Because that was the one thing people talk about. How would they respond to adversity if indeed an 8-point deficit in the first half is adversity? For them it is, because that's the biggest deficit of the season.
Right.
And I think they responded all right. We'll give them a good mark on that.
It's a 3-possession deficit. That's it. And they got it back with their defense.
Hayes has been tremendous. Career high 28 points. And give her an assist on that bucket by Moore. 7 assists for Hayes, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, no turnovers, 5 of 6 from 3. She's done it all and more for the Huskies. Huskies. Cal takes a timeout.
Tiffany Hayes has been stellar. She's done everything. Wide open, why not? Dropping triples, doing a great job getting to the rim in transition. No one's going to guard her. Maya Moore runs a little interference. I'll take that jumper. Boy, she has had a terrific stat line. 28 points. It's just a phenomenal game.
And as you might expect, she more than qualifies to be our Coke Zero player of the game, a new career high for the freshman.
She only missed one shot all afternoon.
And that was a 3. 5 of 6 from 3 for Hayes. See the assists and the turnovers. 5 rebounds as well. No turnovers, 2 steals. Terrific, terrific job by Tiffany Hayes, doing that number 3 quite proud today. Maya Moore is still working hard right to the very end and still trying to get a call. She, by the way, is a delightful kid to talk to.
Oh, she's great.
Plays hard, has the Tamika Catchings knee pads on, and now she gets to take a well-earned seat. Elena Green, Renee Montgomery, and Maya Moore all out of the game, as is Devonay Hampton, the senior from Oakland. And Ashley Walker also calls it a career. The senior from Modesto, California, the 2 cornerstones of the most successful Cal program, a Cal team. First time they'd ever gotten to the Sweet 16, but not enough against the Colossus that is Connecticut.
When you look at the careers of Devonay Hampton and Ashley Walker, they went together as post players. They had fantastic careers at Cal. But guess what? Joanne Boyle's got, depending on which service you look at, the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd rated recruiting class coming in next year. So they'll be good next year.
Adrian misses. Ball goes over to Connecticut. A terrific recruiting class, as you mentioned, coming in for the Bears, who need to retool with Walker and Hampton leaving. Alexis Gray Lawson, a redshirt junior, has 1 more year to go.
Hoop Girls has their 7 freshmen, or 7 incoming players ranked all in the top 15. That's how good that class is.
So a disappointing end to a terrific career for Walker and Hampton. UConn all smiles. Tiffany Hayes gets a hug from Caroline Doty, who is her roommate. Doty, who we haven't even talked about today, went out against Syracuse on the 17th of January with a torn ACL. Imagine how good they'd be if they still had her.
Well, she's their designated 3-point shooter, and their toughness on the perimeter. A lot tougher than she looks, Caroline Doty. And would add to their depth on the perimeter also.
Gino Oriana emptying his bench in the final minute. Jackie Fernandez, a former walk-on, number 13, has the ball right now. Angela Aguirre-Marks, the little girl, number 5, is in for Cal. The Huskies coming back here Tuesday night in Trenton to take on the winner of Arizona State, Texas A&M. A&M, the number 2 seed in Trenton. They have been very impressive in the first couple of rounds.
62 turnovers they've forced in the last 2 games. That's their game.
Aguirre, her dad Mark, is in the stands, and she charges. We are in the Trenton Regional. California about to be eliminated, excuse me. UConn moves on to take on Arizona State or Texas A&M. Switch on over to ESPN2. As soon as this game is over, you'll get an NCAA tournament special with Trey, Kara, and Carolyn, and then you can hang in there to watch the game. UConn down by 8 at one point in the first half, their largest deficit of the season. Nothing to it. They led by 2 at the half and broke this game open, winning it by the final of 77-53. Tiffany Hayes with 28, Maya Moore with 22, Ashley Walker 21 in her last collegiate game for the Bears.
Brilliant career for Ashley Walker and Devonay Hampton come to an end at Cal, but back-to-back 27-win seasons, and they've changed the face of the landscape some on the West Coast. In Connecticut, Saw a little adversity in the first half, and I'd say they handled it with flying colors.
A terrific second half, particularly shooting for the Huskies. Tiffany Hayes hit 5 of her 6 threes, a new career high 28 for the freshman. Rebecca Lobo standing by with Coach Oriema.
Coach, much of the talk coming into the tournament's been about your big three, but how important were Kylie McLaren and especially Tiffany Hayes today?
Well, we were saying earlier that, you know, everybody focuses on their three and our three, and eventually it comes down to they neutralize each other, and then, you know, Kylie played an unbelievable game, and Tiffany, she doesn't play like a freshman at all. I mean, it's amazing the confidence that kid has, and especially in the NCAA tournament. That's just unbelievable.
What weaknesses, if any, did Cal expose when they took that 8-point lead in the first half?
Well, they exposed that when we play too fast and we're out of our mind, that we're not very good. We had 3 or 4 guys out there that thought this was an AAU game and they were doing an N1 mixtape or something. Once we started playing Connecticut basketball, we were all right.
All right, Coach, thank you. Bam.
All right, I have a feeling he will be showing them that portion of the tape.
I don't think they played too fast in the second half. I thought they played with a lot of composure and made the extra pass. They looked good this afternoon.
Another big win for #1 Connecticut, now 36-0 on the season. They will play the winner of our second game, Arizona State and Texas A&M. Coming up next, the Bowling Foundation Long Island Classic on ESPN2. Switch over for the NCAA Women's Championship Special. For Deb Antonelli, Rebecca Lobo, our entire ESPN crew, I'm Pam Ward. This has been a presentation of ESPN as we say so long for now from Trent.